Don't you know that the music should be solid?
Yeah, we know.
Yeah. Yep. We're recording.
We know.
Ooh,
Okay,
look
we
at
know.
these two guys. Who are these two guys?
Hey, listen, man. Nice to meet you. I've never met you before. You're obviously in a 90s band of some kind.
Yeah. Like Depeche Mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gaining weight.
Yeah.
You're as sexy as you've ever been. I have no idea what you think you're doing with your hair. Oh, wait. You're an actor. You're an actor, aren't you, Theo?
Yeah.
How's it going there, Mr. Fucking Dye My Hair?
Yeah, it's going. You know, I leave in a few days. You know, you look completely different in your Sturgis mode, which everybody knows about. I'm going to go into a few different modes. And this is the start of it.
What did you think? What did you think when you saw when your hairdresser did what they did with? What did you think, bro?
My guy Ricky Hodge, it was the first time we
fucking love that name.
Downtown Austin. Ricky, I was there for hours lifting the color out of my hair. I now feel the pain of what a lot of people have to go through when they dye their hair. That is an excruciating process, meaning that it's very laborious. Like it takes a lot of time. I'm just not for me. But I did. I love it. I love it. Listen, I have said this. I will repeatedly say it. I never want to be me on screen, ever. You and I have talked about this.
I want to be you.
I don't ever want someone to go on. I told you my favorite thing on the street is when people yell shades, ghosts, juice. You know, I don't like when they're like Theo Rossi. I'm like, oh, they figured it out. You know, because I always told you a famous story, you know, about Gary Oldman in the bar. But it's like I'm trying to escape, and again, we talk about the crumbs. You talked about it with Sturgis, where it's like you read the books, you start to look at the look, you start to look at the way, okay, what's he listening to, what's the hair look like, what's the mutton chops, what's he smoking, what's this, and then you take the crumbs and you create. That's the deal. And I took the crumbs on these next few projects, and I'm creating around them something different. And at the same time, you know, there's only so much you can do, and the physical is the beginning of it. Then it goes to walks and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, please. It's so true. And yesterday was my first, you know, big day on this nice project that I'm on. I'll be coming back and forth between LA and everywhere else when I come back to upstate New York to continue filming during the summer. But my look will stay the same, obviously. And that black dye is going to, you know, get redone every 3 weeks, because that's just what Frank Sturgis was like. But yesterday to see Justin Theroux and Woody Harrelson encompass these guys. And I got to tell you, like Yule, my boy, who's one of the head macho Cuban guys that I love and I'm hanging with and doing this stuff with. You should see what we are wearing. You should see what we're doing and how we're walking in these ties that are as wide as my forehead. And it's wool and it's polyester.
What year is it again?
1972, Theo Rossi. Yep. Watergate.
Yep. Watergate, 72.
And this story's never been told before. It is Knucklehead Central. So we were in a basement yesterday. I won't say much about it, but I'm on a beanbag eating sandwiches. We're all smoking. Everybody smoked back then. Herbal cigarettes, of course. And Woody and Justin are yelling and screaming. It is fun. And I'm giggling. It is fun shit. So anyway, to get back to what you said, yeah, you still have to bring part of you to every part we play. I bring part of Kim to every part that I play, but I'm playing Tig Traeger, or you're playing Shades. You're playing, but dude, your look is, I don't even know who I'm talking to right now.
Yeah, and I love it. And you know, again, your extent is what you can start with is, like you said, you can do a lot of inner work, which we all do, but it's like physical, right? What can you do physically?
Yeah.
And you know, that to me that's the fun part. That's the kid in the costume. And
when I saw you in LA from 6 feet away, when you're doing that huge Netflix thing, and you were withering away for the role, it changed how you thought. It changed. You turned into that guy. You didn't have a lot of energy until you needed it for those scenes with Kevin and you and your zealous personality and the wackiness of the guy you were playing. You were slowly inhabiting that world by not eating, by working out, by eating,
Yeah. But we told, like, to bring it back to Sons, this is Reaper Reviews. I mean, I made them keep the tattoos on my head during the week, because when I went to Target, when I went to wherever, the supermarket, I wanted to see the way people reacted to me.
Yeah.
As that character. So if you watched the show, great, you were excited. If you didn't, you were like, who the fuck is this guy with these tattoos?
Do you remember
on his
that
head,
one
right?
story that you and your former gal down in Pasadena,
Tom Cruise,
you walked into that freaking restaurant?
Oh yeah.
They didn't know what was going on with you and your tattoos.
No, and that's the thing. And then like you just said, which is such a great observation, is then that observes your character of how people react to that person in the physical world, right? So when you and I would ride motorcycles everywhere, right? So wherever we'd go meet for lunch, we'd go whatever. We're on our motorcycles. We have our tattoos on. We're not filming, but
No.
we're existing in the characters, even though we're Theo and Kim. So we're seeing the way people react. So for example, since my hair has been blonde, I had my kid's graduation yesterday.
Yay!
Yeah. Probably, I don't know what preschool, or I don't know. They do graduations for everything now.
They're not
It's
in
like,
high school yet. I just thought I'd
no.
tell you.
And they do like these big Broadway shows. I don't understand what's happening. The thing was like 6 hours. These kids graduated preschool. It's like, who needs to be there this long? But
They've
I don't
been pent up for a year with the COVID thing. They want to get it out.
They were excited. And they were doing songs in Mandarin and stuff. It was kind of wild. But what was crazy is, I'm not going to wear a hat. And I want to see how people react to me. And the ones that know I'm an actor, of course, they react a certain way. But the ones that don't, it's like, oh, who's this guy with platinum blonde hair?
It's kind of pretty. Like, is he a catalog model?
What's he doing? Why does he look like that? So again, I think that, and that's what I love, that you and I love that and I say this, and I never give us too many compliments, but I love that you and I are these type of actors, whatever you want to call it, character actors who actually care, whatever you want to do. I just love that we are these types.
There's nothing better than when you went to set just a few months ago and got, told what you were told. And I get to set yesterday and I finally meet Woody and Justin and they're giving it up. But come on, I'm so old and I've done so much. I'm so happy to be there. Yeah. They're carrying this fucking thing. Yeah. I'm helping them carry. Yeah. But for them to come up and go, hey man, it's about time you showed up. Like, how you doing, bro? Yeah. That's just it's a nice place to be in when you can bring all the past stuff. And I'm so much older than you, Theo. You get so much more to go. But it's nice to be respected and loved. And hey, man, let's make the best project.
It's like our buddy Flanagan, when we had him on last
Tommy.
week. Like, you're gonna elevate the material. Like, they know you're coming in. And if you're not the one, or you're not, the number two, whatever, you're not the guy that the story is, centering upon, you're going to come in and they know that you're going to elevate every single scene that you're in. And this is why I tell people, it's not about the amount of scenes you're in. We were just joking around about Army of the Dead, and you've joked around about Waterworld. You're in Waterworld for what, 12 minutes?
12 and a half minutes, 2 scenes, that's it.
It's one of the greatest performances. I always talk about, Philip Seymour Hoffman in Talented Mr. Ripley. I think he's in like 3 scenes. I think he's in 3 scenes, but he steals the movie. I think in Boogie Nights, he's in like 4 or 5, steals the movie. It's about being memorable. It's about quality, not quantity. And I believe that the sad reality is that people will be like, oh, but why aren't you in the whole movie? And it's like, would you rather me be in the whole movie and be boring just so you can see me, or would you rather me come in and just wreck shop for the little that I'm in? And I'd rather come in and wreck shop. Javier Bardem comes in and he wrecks shop when he does movies. He comes in. There's
a reason why actors like you and I do the things that we do. We read them, then we get offered them. Sometimes we have to audition for them.
Yeah.
And when we get them, they're so happy to have us, and we're doing it because of the script. We're doing it because of the director. We're doing it because of maybe the location or another actor, who knows, but we're doing it because we want to really, this isn't just for the money, people.
That's right.
This is for the job of creating something that will really fill my heart and do something that you'll never forget, for sure.
Yeah, I'll do one scene in a movie if it's great. I'll do 2 lines and a lot of looks if I love what it is, if I love the whole thing. And I think that I've watched a lot of actors get caught up in the, well, I don't really say anything here. And I'm like, do you realize how much you can do? Like, especially if it's something where something had happened to you and it's, the eyes never lie, what we always talk about. So again, I mean, such is life. I think that people are, especially now, everybody's so consumed with quantity over quality. And that's just not the case. You know what I mean? You don't need 600 pairs of sneakers. You need like ones that work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And again, but hey, that's we've always been a gluttonous species, society. So listen, this episode, I gotta tell you, I was blown away because we're still in the process of moving. I was up till 1 a.m. watching this.
Yeah, you were.
Night. Let me tell you something. First of all, holy fuck, we're on episode 8. What happened?
How did that happen?
Season's flying. Okay?
And we were so excited to get to season 4 and do them in order. We're almost done.
Shit. And we're almost done. I mean, I don't know if maybe when we went out of order, they felt like they were going slower, but this is like ripping through these things. That's number one. Number 2, this season seems so full. Like there's so much going on. It's almost like the Hinge. If like 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, it's like, this is like the one that links everything.
Oh, that well said. You said it earlier. Like this is the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
This is the beginning of the end of Sons of Anarchy.
And this is all those turns. This is all those turns.
Theo, I didn't see some of these shows, bro.
Me neither.
To see these shows, the whole thing with Tara, the whole thing when Clay makes that deal with Romeo and the cartel. Where's that going to go? I kind of forget. Like, fuck off.
And I want to get right into it because and I can't wait till that part because
Family Recipe.
Yeah, Family Recipe, and I guess we know what that is, where they try to insert some humor into this, which, by the way, was the one part of the episode I didn't like. But so
uncalled for.
It's super uncalled for.
I love that you came up with that last week.
Yeah,
still uncalled for.
So we open up with Juice gas.
Find you.
Yeah. Listen, I learned a lot. A lot of people wrote me after last week, and I learned even more than I thought I knew about.
One example, please.
Well, the art of hanging, when one hangs himself to try to commit suicide. I have heard this, but I wasn't positive that, a lot of people assume that it's to choke you to death, to take that's the way you go. But a lot of people were informing me that it's also to break your neck.
Correct.
Right. That's the way. So when I was researching this, I had kind of known both, but I wasn't sure which was which, right? Because of that big chain. They really were very forceful in wanting that chain as a part of the image. And I always felt it to be difficult because it doesn't, really do this or whatever. But what I loved is when I did that first scene, he looks up like, what? How the fuck did this? I couldn't even do this correct what he, and I think that Juice knew that he was in more shit. Like this just made it even worse. Right.
Oh, interesting.
So he hears the Tig and Chib's bikes arrive, right? Yeah. I love the way you delivered that line. And again, I hadn't seen this episode, but it's so far from Tig's mind that, are you clothesline yourself, you idiot?
No, it was a great line to give to me because I have done that. Playing football.
Me too. I broke my tooth.
You've done it. Oh, yeah. There you go.
Yeah,
so we're athletic guys. We're sports guys. I've done that. It's no fun.
No.
So for me to giggle at your expense was completely fucking real. I didn't think anything else of anything else. Tommy had something else going on in his head, but
what's so cool is I'm coming out of there stressed, chaotic. What's going to happen to me? And to have that bit of humor for a minute,
it was good.
It really is like a well put together short scene. So I really appreciated that. And I thought that was a cool way to start
Me
the
too.
show. Roosevelt shows up at Towers, says that Margaret gave him the note.
Yep.
He's checking in on her again. Again, this is something I noticed that Sons does. And it's so funny as you get older and you watch these things. We always painted Roosevelt as the enemy.
I fucking love him so much in this.
What was he doing wrong here? What was he doing wrong? That he's the bad guy?
Nothing. And I have to tell you, I don't know if you noticed, but when he says there's been a death threat, and I know it, the baby zipped his head around to look at mom like, oh no, mom, did you hear that? You hear what the cop just said?
Yeah.
You're in trouble. Like
Yeah.
They couldn't have planned that cut better if they tried.
Yeah. So I just, and I really love that. Again, we paint these, yeah. And yes, listen, there are guys like Hale who aren't good guys. There are guys who are doing stuff nefarious, but like Roosevelt wasn't, you know what I mean?
But what I mean by what I said is this, Theo.
And I meant Hale Sr., by the way, not Hale Jr. I thought he was.
Yeah, his junior was great. You're right. But what I mean by it is Rockman, the actor, is just blowing me away at his cop isms. He's a straight shooter. He's not from that town. He knows we are, but he's going to do it the right way. But he's in a bit of a pickle too.
Yeah.
From Link, from these threats from Ray in the brown leather jacket. Like there's still some shit going on with him. And we're going to find out more about his wife. I know that coming up. There's stuff with his wife going on. So
yeah, and I got to tell you, that's a big guest star that he got. Like that's a big recurring guest star character.
He told me, and I know he told you, he's good buddies with both of us. At the time, he put his feet up. He was so happy. When you're offered, you've said this countless times, Theo, when you're offered an arc, I love arcs. That's all I did.
Me too.
I never wanted to be a regular on a TV show. I wanted arcs, and that's what I did.
Too.
When you're offered an arc, it's 3 shows, 4 shows. That's great. But when you're offered a season, like Billy Fichtner was offered season 2 in Prison Break, that's the season. You don't know if you'll go on after, but they offered Rockman the season. They offered Ray McKinnon the season. That's some fucking good shit, bro.
Yeah, and and especially when they're going to focus on you, you're not just going to kind of pop in and out. So I love that, and it's weird for like Theo can say it. It's weird for Juice to say it, but I love that. I love that character. So Piney rolls up for the vote. Everyone's prepping. Jack says that Clay is getting us whole. So we use this whole thing on many different levels here.
Yep.
He's getting us whole, I guess, with money.
Yep.
We get into the vote. Before this whole thing goes down, I noticed that Juice made the choice, or whatever it was. I made the choice to have my hand by my neck the whole time, so no one asked any questions.
Fuck! I didn't notice that, bro. You would
at the table.
Good.
I didn't have my hand on my face. I had my hand here the whole time.
Just let's not show the red neck off.
Yeah, I didn't want, because you don't want anyone else at the table to ask questions. So that was interesting. And then
good pickup.
Now we have a major drive-by. That wasn't like a 2-shot drive-by. That was
I wrote down like, Jesus fuck. This is when we're getting the Chapel in the Clubhouse back hall. We get these fucking bullets out of everywhere. Everywhere.
How many? I mean, that had to be 1,000 rounds of bullets.
Yep. Took the cops a while to get there. I don't know why. That was worse than, shit that happens in the Middle East, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. I mean, it was brutal. And I remember, I do remember the Sam Taz heads, because I remember looking at them when we were there that day and being like,
yeah,
do these look real enough? Is this what heads would look like? Why are they in such good condition? I was thinking, and I get it. It's for effect. To me, the real best part of that scene is Piney threatening Clay, basically saying like, this is it, bud. This is it. You do this or it's over. Like, I'm giving the letters. I'm blowing up this whole thing. that you have going. And remember, now Clay's got it coming from every angle, to not use whatever type of term. I mean, Bobby's got this going on. Piney's coming at him. And we all know the most dangerous people in the world are people who are cornered. Clay's being cornered right now in every way.
He's a big ass dog with a big ass bite, and you're cornering this guy.
Yeah.
I forgot how important those fucking letters were to Clay. They were everything. He's gone.
Well, they tell everything, right? They basically say he killed him.
They say that I'm going to get killed by Clay Morrow. My wife has left me for this guy. I've tried to do good with the club. He's going to fuck it up, and he's probably going to end up. Well, that's exactly what happened. So Clay's had it. He's finding those letters, and Piney doesn't give a rat's ass. He doesn't think for 1 second his life's in danger. I'll tell you that, because he's tough. He's as big as a redwood.
Yeah, and he doesn't care. And now we're going to try to insert some humor. Chucky finds the head.
Yeah.
Under the car, and this is where I think that as we started getting into the later seasons, this is just my observation. I think we were struggling to find the humor sometimes. Like, I think it came more naturally in the beginning.
I think you're right. I think those first couple seasons, they were the right kind of tone and the right kind of humor. I think something that was as big as this show now is in season 4.
Yeah.
And certainly the path that we're going to take. One of the reasons that made Sutter and his writers so incredibly brilliant was the combo of drama and some humor. But
well, I think, and I believe, the stakes weren't as dire the first 3 seasons.
They weren't.
Like, there wasn't 1,000-round cartel shootouts. There was problems with the Mayans. There was problems with Mitch and Pileggi's character, Darby and the white supremacist guys. They were just kind of like gang stuff, or whatever you want to call it. It wasn't this global scale, kind of.
Yeah, no, it was too weird too. It's like, we're not Disney anymore. It's a fucking head rolling around. We're going to put it with some lettuce.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that makes the humor harder.
And you're right. And did you notice when Piney is looking at Opie, when everyone's starting to go their way now a little bit, he goes, "Keep your head down, boy."
Yeah.
Isn't the term "keep your head up"? Like, am I wrong?
I think he was saying keep your head down to not get
lost in the clouds.
No, to not get fucked up by the cartel.
Yeah. All right. Well, but usually I say keep your head up. But anyway,
keep your head up would be like keep your head on a swivel.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Who knows? Okay. So Jax explodes again in that scene while they're waiting for Roosevelt to show up. When they're getting out of card, they're in that office, and the character Jax had the tendency to do that a lot, right? Where he would go from 0 to 60 pretty quick.
Yeah.
I've always found that interesting because I guess people do that in their real life a lot, right? Mine's usually a bit of a build to just pop off out of nowhere.
Whatever choices he was making as Jax, they were his, because he's feeling the pressure. Things are not going fucking well now. Remember when we first started season 4, he was getting all this money from the cartel. We're out.
Yeah.
We're out in like 2 months. We're gone. We're done. Those days are fucking over. Now his wife's getting, death threats.
Yeah. And I think he's battling his own inner demon at this point.
Battling his own demons. And remember this, Theo. He just bashed Ima's face, which was so uncalled. He's fucking going off the rails a tad.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, I think that a lot of people aren't talking. It's so out of character of who he was. And I think that, the one really honorable quality of Jax Teller was that if he did something, he stuck to it. The problem is that even if it was wrong. So I think that backing Clay was a giant mistake. And he was feeling that in that moment. You know what I mean? Like he's like, wait a second.
Absolutely.
These heads just arrived.
Absolutely.
They just did this big shootout. why did I think this was okay? And again, later on, this is all going to come out with the talk with Tara.
Yeah.
So Galindo's coming to the gun warehouse. The Mayans have a trader. I got a little lost there on who the trader was, and I didn't really understand what was going on.
Yeah, it gets confusing because you have Alvarez and you got that whole Mayan thing they're with us now. Hang on a second, Lobo, and then there's Heads and this cartel. There's another cartel that might be even bigger than the one we're dealing with.
Yeah.
And so everyone's getting involved.
They said they had a trader who's been hanging out at the warehouse, but I only remember that kid, Jesse, who's, such a great actor. Who he's not the trader.
Not him.
No, but someone else.
Yeah.
So again, I think when you're doing that and you don't show faces, like they should have had the guy in the background, like maybe smoking a cigarette, and they could have like referenced him or something. Like it got a little confusing. And then I mean, we'll talk about that truck coming later, but we're always prepping for something bad.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, we might not make this out alive. Everybody go home, get your rest.
Yeah.
We might not come out of the OK corral here, when we come back. And it's like, what?
Well, it's just, again, it's just suspenseful, right? We all know we're going to survive because it's Sons of Anarchy, but someone could get killed. Yes. Someone could lose an eye.
Yes.
It's not beyond Sutter to do shit like that. We don't know. The audience certainly doesn't fucking know. And also let me just add to what you said about the cartel and the stuff. Kurt fucking Sutter, man. He got sometimes for me really confusing on purpose. Like he wanted things to go, can I look at that show again? What did I miss? Yeah. Like to make it so cool and so fucked up. And so what, remember the Irish season? There was stuff being said that, what? So I think sometimes he just got really confusing on purpose because it drove us nuts.
Yeah. And I think that I can imagine that you have an end goal that you want to get to, and you have to get there. You have to get there. And if you have to take a side street sometimes, you have to take a side street, right?
No,
he had to get to that end goal.
That's right.
So we go to Tara and Gemma talk. This was, again, because I really did like this episode. Don't let I'm just nitpicking certain things. The Tara and Gemma talk. At this point, maybe it was because it was late. I'm getting a little tired of this same talk.
Yeah, I didn't even put it down here, so sorry.
Yeah, she wants out. I get it. What do I do? This isn't what I thought. I'm not you.
No.
Time to go, right?
Yep.
And now they're going to do the whole chili joke, the whole bit, the shtick. Chucky
and his chili.
Yeah, and Chucky's going to give the headline.
Full of a head. Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah.
And it just seemed uncalled for.
No, this is what it was. It was just the wrong movie.
Yeah.
It's that's a whole other Comedy Central movie with the cops eating from the chili and loving it. Yeah, can I have some more?
Uncalled for. I get it. Like the head thing's funny, but then to add in the they're gonna have this little banter and try to one up each other on head stuff.
Yeah, sorry.
Ooh, a little spicy. I think Happy would like this kind of chili. It's like, what are we doing here, guys?
Yeah.
Let's just go to apparently everybody's about to get massacred.
Let's go back to the warehouse and see if anyone lives. Let's go there.
It's silly, right? So then you have the Clay and Oswald scene. I really like whenever Clay and Oswald are together because it is like a chess match between them two.
Yeah.
Clay is in prep mode. Like he's trying to do a lot of things. He's got a lot on his plate, and he's becoming more of a boss and more of a lack of, dare I say, dictator, where he's saying like, you're going to do this. It's the first time we obviously have money if we're splitting $75K, and this is all from the cartel stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably should have saved their money because they never have money, but instead of giving it to gardens in the middle of Charming, but maybe put it away so you don't have to.
No, it's just, this is the last thing that Clay wants to do before he retires. He wants to keep Charming the way it is.
Right.
Oh, wait, we just got a fucking ton of cash, I might not even survive the shoot 'em up coming out. So let's get back to the environment and not make sure that goddamn hail doesn't get his charming heights in there and changes everything. That could be Clay's legacy, right? Like
no, he needs to put in a long-term savings account.
That's that's what he needs. A GST somewhere. Yeah.
Or a PO box. Yeah. Or it's just something.
401k, something.
Something, you know, instead of that. I just, again, I get it. It's the show. Okay. So here's one of my favorite scenes. This is the Piney Jack scene.
Yeah. So I wanted to say Paul Maybaum directed this. He did get another show, which was great to see. Paul.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Oh,
he directed this. And
great episode.
I got to tell you, this fucking scene, man, because I love it when you don't know what's going to happen. I love it when you don't know if it's going to be a yell them out, a kiss them out, what they're going to talk about. Because I know one thing they're going to talk about, and I'm a little bored with it, is John Teller. I know that. It's going to come up again because it always does with Piney. Yeah. But in this particular scene, I could have watched this fucking scene for 12 minutes long. It was that good.
Yeah, and I think why they're so good and why they're appealing is you're getting history, number one. You're going to learn something. Piney's obviously... you could watch the guy do nothing, literally nothing. And you could watch him watch TV and it's an interesting scene. And I think that that's as close to a real dad, for lack of a better word, father figure.
No, good point. Very good point.
He's going to have.
Yep.
So he's the only one giving him direction and telling him what to do. Jack's, that he thought with him, their ideas had a chance. Piney says, I thought with you, all the stuff that JT and I thought our ideas had a chance when you came along. So obviously they saw this club very different. And again, I keep going back in my head to this potential of a First Nine miniseries. I would love to know what those ideas were and how it got to guns, because we come to find out later that Piney sponsored Clay, that he let him in. So what was it like, this big, I think Kumbaya circle with John and Piney?
Yep. I think it's really simple. 1%ers have an opportunity at some point, early, medium, or late, to go down a certain line. You were either going to be bike mechanics and have other jobs and get together every Friday night and get so drunk and ride your bikes and go on fucking field trips, or you're going to go, I don't really like working at Safeway anymore. Joe, what about you? Yeah, that tire shop isn't really for me. Wait, we can sell guns and make how much?
Right.
How much? And it's charming, small little town. We're not like downtown LA. We're out of the radar. And we got Unser under our fucking thumb. Let's do that.
Yeah.
That's what happened, bro.
Yeah. And again, I think that, Piney, like he says to him, like, I was basically finished. I was retired and you made me come out. Your existence.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I thought that was, again, when Jax gets sensitive in that scene and comes from the heart, not just yelling, it's a fucking great scene.
And it ends like this. Piney says, before you let JT die, you should find him, Jax, and find out what he truly was to yourself.
Fuck.
Like, come on. For Piney to be given that shit because Kurt knew he would hit it right, and for Charlie to listen to it, not knowing this is the last thing he's going to say to him.
I know.
For the rest of his life. For an actor, which you so eloquently talk about, Rossi, to have Charlie have that in his chest to propel him for the next 3 seasons, when he should so choose to remember how William Lucking delivered that to him. That's shit that you hang on to, man.
And what a way, what a last, even though it's not his last line, because he obviously talks to Clay, his last line, not under duress. Yeah. He's not under duress. So what a great last thing to say to pass on this knowledge. So we go to Katie's daughter singing at the fundraiser. Did you know that?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
She's just stunning. And Bob Theo was playing the guitar.
Yep.
The guy does all our music, stunning. There he is playing. The whole band was up there. What a fun day. They had to get to come to set.
Yeah.
I was there the whole day, man.
Cool. You were there. I wasn't. It was in La Cañada. And the only reason I know that is because I was up at Dayton's that day and I was living by there at the time.
Yeah.
And you guys were filming. And I remember because I had to go, I was riding my bike up there from Eagle Rock.
Yeah.
And you guys were filming. I was on my way to Dayton's and I was like, look at these fucking trucks taking up the whole
It was us.
It was you guys. And I saw all our security guards and I was like, hey. And they were like, where you going? I said, I'm going to Unsers. And then and you guys were
I had my feet up on that stage, Theo, all day. And Bob would play guitar for me and I'd fuck around with him. And
yeah. Well, and that's what I want to say. So first we go to that. Then before we do that, we cut right to the Sons going in military mode, which by the way, always drives me nuts, right? We cut to the Sons and everybody's like, you know, those scenes, we've done them 1,000 times.
Yeah.
It's like clips in, grenades,
yeah.
We're ready to go. It's, we're going in, platoon style into this fight, right?
So in Vietnam, we went that.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Spec Ops Sons. And we, so crazy. So we go back to the fundraiser and this is always interesting for an actor. So you're in the crowd, Clay and you and Gemma and everybody are in the crowd. Roosevelt, a couple of actors, a lot of key actors, Oswald, whatever, all the other extras. And Clay's got to do his speech, which we know they're going to, or a monologue, whatever you want to call it. And we know they're going to film it for hours.
Yeah.
And the only thing you're thinking as the actor in the crowd is when they turn around on him, I'm fucking leaving.
Yeah.
Right. Because you know that it's going to be 5 hours of the same speech. Over and over. And you want to be there. And what I always say is I would walk up to him and go, you need me? You need me to be there. You need to look at me. And if you ask someone like me, I'm always like, no, I don't need you. You can go. Right. Unless it was like a personal
unless
thing
you really want them there.
Yeah. But very rarely do I need someone. Right. And I could imagine when you were there, because you did a thing where you were staring at Roosevelt. So you start creating.
Good for you.
Stuff.
You saw that.
Yeah.
I said, holy shit. I go, did you see the minute-long stare at Roosevelt at the top of Clay's speech to the crowd? It was like, hey, Copper, man, we're from here. We're from fucking Charming. Are you gonna listen to this?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you one more thing, Theo. That scene that day, I remember now when I saw it, we started on Ron.
Mm.
We were all on fucking Ron for a long time, as we should. That was the meat. But boy, when we turned around, we got one take. That was it.
Were you? Well, of course.
We only needed one, but that's all we got.
No, I mean, it would be nice to have 3. I always say 3 should be the limit, just in case. Were you there when they were on Run the whole time?
Yeah. Oh, fuck
you were.
Oh yeah.
And you weren't even sitting.
No. Well, by the time what it's like. By the time they actually and we're ready to shoot, my feet are up. I'm talking to Katie. I'm talking to Bob, and then when we're ready to shoot, we're standing up. Here we go.
Right. Even though the cameras aren't seeing an inch of
at all.
Yeah, it's funny. We were doing this thing. This is what was interesting about my last show that I just finished. So we were doing this, the thing with Kevin Hart, and he has this thing where I'm in the crowd and he has to, do this thing where he's big monologue. And what I love to this group, I don't want to give too much away to this group. And I'm in the crowd. What I loved about it is Kev there wasn't one that was even remotely close. They were all different. So every time he did it, let's say how
fucking great that is, bro.
Yeah. Let's say he did it 10 times. They were 10 completely different ones. So they had extra cameras
raw,
on
so beautiful.
us.
I love it.
Oh, it's so great because it felt like I was so interested in it. And I'm thinking, if I'm interested and I'm here,
wait till the audience
viewing it, right?
Yeah.
So that's that freedom where you hope that writer is going, hey, it's your world.
For me that day, Rossi, I got to tell you, where my head went to when I saw the scene again? was I remember that day going, all right, Perlman is a brilliant actor.
Yeah.
He's just brilliant. No one's got a face or a voice like him, and he
No.
can fucking act. And I want to do every movie with him. And that's the God's honest truth. I was thinking, what is Clay Morrow like talking to an audience? Like, what is Ron going to act as an actor talking to, and he cuts down fucking Hale.
Yep.
He said there should be a different mayor. He's right there, 10 feet away.
Yep.
And I just
I know what you think about me. I know what you think about me in my club.
Yeah. So I was thinking that day, how's he gonna, like, is he a good public speaker?
Right. That's a great question. Is Clay a good public speaker?
Yeah. So he had gravitas that day, and I thought interesting, but I might have fucked it up a little bit more than he did. But that's just me.
Yeah, that's a really good, that's a great actor thing right there, because right there you can go, not what would see, there's levels to this, right? Like you say, okay, there's the physical, there's the way you walk, there's the mental stuff going on inside, but then you got to think about like habits. Like, would Juice be a good public speaker? Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not. It's not what he does. I would immediately, just breaking this down in my head, I'm thinking, no, he has all the tattoos because he's trying to, he likes to be seen and he is insecure. So because he's insecure, he probably wouldn't be good at public speaking. So there you can do that in your public speaking scene where you're uncomfortable or you're moving or you're whatever. Now that's not what Theo would do. Theo's a good public speaker.
That's why we're doing this, bro.
Yeah. See, that's a whole nother level of looking at a character where
those are shit that guys like,
how do they drive
about that? I think about that all the time.
Yeah. How do they drive? Like, how do they, are they good at flying when they go to planes? What are they, are they really clean? Are they not clean? Are they, these are the things that there are times I've walked on sets and, where it's like, this is your apartment and you get to set and see it. And I'll get there and go, my character would never have an apartment like this.
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, you got to clean this all up. This guy would never, that's not who he is. And they're like, great.
I did a show up in Toronto last year, Pretty Hard Cases. And the producers and the showrunners called me early. And so we're going to show you photos of how we're going to, put when we go to your apartment in a couple of weeks, your flat in New York, Niagara Falls. And they sent me this whole array of shit. And I went, that one, that one, that one, and that one.
Yeah.
And when I got into that fucking apartment, bro, there was a reason why they were all there. And it was just better for me.
Well, and I'll tell you, and then we'll keep it going, is like, you'll see coming up in the later seasons when Juice is on the run in that apartment that he's hiding out on, all the cans and everything in the house are in perfect order. And that was me working with Cooters and all those guys.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Because I was like, no, he would line up all his tomato sauce a certain way. And so again, that's the stuff like you just said. That's such a great thing to think about. Really helpful too. All right. So Juice is off to the side as the truck rolls up. Chibs is trying to shake him out of it, right? Juice is
so he grabbed your fucking face, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's looking at you going, come on, come on. Like, tell us about that night. Like what?
Well, I think that I was trying to be super distant because I think that there was a lot going on with him, which was.
I wrote down Theo played the through line so fucking good with his emotions.
Yeah.
In this episode, I mean. Like
he's lost. He's lost.
He's lost.
He doesn't know. It doesn't. Where does he belong? There was a point where I started thinking as him in this moment, in this episode, at this time, was he even still alive? I know that sounds completely weird. Did he die? Like I started getting like really weird with him where I was like, Juice was so confused.
Wow, we're in a dream state now. Like, am I actually fucking alive? That's wild.
Yeah, like, was he even alive? Like, he's looking around and he's seeing all these things happening, and he's like, but I just tried to take my own life. Why am I still here? Like it was like this whole thing that I was doing with him, and I thought that if I can create this confusion within him, that it would read on camera of how confused he was and how lost he was, which I think comes at the end, which is like, I don't know what's going on.
It was great. It was fucking great, Rossi.
So here's my question about this scene. We're with this Galindo infantry.
Yeah.
unit. Why are we the ones checking the truck?
Look.
Why is it us? Why not these trained assassins?
Look, coming up in season 7, which will be next February, I'm going to say to you, and this is a preamble right now, there's a scene where I went to Charlie. I said, Charlie, why are we killing these people and why? Like, who are they and why? And he said to me, Coatsy, if you don't know, I certainly don't know.
Yeah.
Meaning, don't ask too many questions.
Yeah.
Show up at the warehouse. We had that fucking location all year, that whole season. Show up, put the clips in. What are my lines? Be real.
Yeah. It's wild to have Bobby walk up to the door and go, clear. No.
It's
Wild. It's wild. Doesn't work. It's wild.
no, come on.
Wild. Silly. Silly.
I
and
wish
wild.
I was there that night to be able to go, come on, Bobby.
Come
You don't
on,
know
send
that.
up one of these guys who's a trained. This is military, paramilitary guys. Like, what are we doing? All right, so we go to Jack sitting with Tara. She says now she has to leave. It's a great scene. It's super subtle.
Let me turn my pages here.
Super subtle.
Yeah.
Super chill, super subtle.
It's actually, sorry, Theo, it's a beautifully framed scene. I'm going to tell you what Paul did here. He usually, not always, but usually when we did our close-ups, they were close-ups, different, sizes and whatnot. He did a 2-shot here that worked so beautifully because the climax at the end of this 2-shot was us seeing them holding hands. He never left it. It was like a 50s style 2-shot. They should have been smoking cigarettes with a cocktail. And it went down to their hands like they were holding hands. I thought it was.
He caught everything in the frame.
Everything, Theo.
Yeah. He made the most of the scene in the camera. Like,
they both have tears. They weren't forced tears. That's one thing we've never had a problem with. Either really. Tears come or they don't come. You don't force anything. It is what it is.
No.
And
never read the action. You and I talked about that. Michael Caine says never read the punctuation, but I also tell people don't read the action. Like if it's like the character cries here and breaks down. No, not unless you feel it.
Yeah.
Don't tie yourself into that. Yeah, if you don't feel it, don't do it.
Back to your BFF, answer with Dave.
Yeah.
You fucking read that script. I'm not gonna fuck. Well, you don't know. You don't really know.
You don't know.
Wait,
if you're doing what Tommy said.
We know where you're from. We know how tough you are.
Yeah.
But why don't you just wait and see what the scene brings out of you?
Bring like Tommy said, just be truthful and be honest. And
no, some of the greatest shit Tommy's ever done on this whole fucking thing is with you. Some of his fucking ad lib, well, it's coming up here, so we'll wait. But motherfucker.
Yeah, so I just really enjoyed that scene with them. Now we go to Gemma with you. You're laying on the pool table. She's going in, and Clay basically just straight up lies to her, right? I'm in the clubhouse. I'm staying here. She hears it. And now we're going to go through this kind of montage-y thing.
Before we do, can I just say, did you see how beautifully I handled that purse and I slung it over my shoulder?
I really did. And like you've done it before.
Come on. I've done it before. I have done it before.
Yeah.
Tig's done everything before.
Like Tig's done it on his own time.
Oh yeah. No. He's gotten a little high and gets a purse and sees how it's slung over his shoulder.
Yeah, it's like the guy from Silence of the Lambs. Put the lotion in the basket. Little Ted.
Watch that movie. Ted Levine.
Ted Levine. Yeah.
Ted Levine.
You would have been great as Buffalo Bill. And then he's special, that fucking guy. He's wild. I mean, you want to talk about having fun in a character.
You work with him?
I've never worked with Ted.
I met him at a party once. He's a very deep voice.
He's been in some big movies.
He's done some big movie and TV shows.
Yeah.
But when you put your stamp on Silence of the Lambs, that kind of guy, ooh.
And he had
in that world for a while.
And you're gonna be stuck in that role for a long
be careful
time.
with shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to fight against the creep, right? You know, that's where you get creepy. Like if you and I both know this, right? You start to play the bad guy or the creep.
You make sure that, first of all, I'm saying yes to that part.
Oh God,
I'm playing that guy.
yeah.
If it was me who was offered it, and Levine said yes too.
Yeah.
But then you make sure that the next one isn't, okay, so we got a cross dresser. She's psycho. He's psycho. Yeah. And we want you. You're going to go, no, thank you.
Thank you.
I want to play.
And you're going to get that call 50 times.
You might.
Yeah. Oh, you're a guy who collects chainsaws and likes to cut people's feet off. And it's like, oh, really? I cut people's feet off? That's what I'm doing? All right. Well,
no, I want to play Red Skelton. I want to play Bernie the Beaver.
Yeah, and they probably paid him $4 for that movie too. So it's kind of like now you got to start, and then you just start getting offered. Hollywood doesn't really have an imagination.
But then you get people taking notice. And if people took notice of his work, like they did with mine in Waterworld, like they've done with yours, Army of the Fucking Dead. You have 5 scenes, 6. You're so fucking funny. You're so fucking weird and kind of sexy and kind of tough, but you know, you're funny. Yeah. And people have taken
So Juice is getting the chain off and Chib shows up.
Okay. Well, we talked about it last week.
Yeah. So I don't want to go on about it that long here,
but one of my favorite scenes of the entire 7 seasons, to hear Tommy talk about it with you last week and then to see it again, to think that there was really nothing there on the page and what you and he did with that scene, remarkable.
There's not a lot there. And yet it's everything between us. He does something so brilliantly. He covers the swing of emotion, anger and sadness in this really quick motion. Confusion, anger, sadness. He covers in like a very short span of time.
Oh my God, good call. He did.
Yeah. And that's a really hard, that's a marathon for a few minutes, right? You have to, because we don't even do that in our own lives really well. He comes in confused. He goes from anger to sad. And he does it in motions, not dialogue.
No.
He does it in motion. He does it in looking at the chain, coming at me, falling on the tree.
Yep.
That's the way you play emotion. So all these people who say you need all these lines or you need this, no, you don't. That scene's more memorable in, what is it, a minute and a half? Amazing. You know what I mean? It's not screen time, kids. That goes back to what we talked about in the beginning. That's making stuff memorable. So yeah, I've said a lot about that scene. I just
excellent. Love it's fucking excellent.
So Piney answers and grabs all Clay's guns.
Well, he goes like this: give me the 9 and the boot.
And the boot.
When 2 old gunslingers like that get dialogue like that, and guys, you know that's going to be their last scene in this entire Billy Lucky. I mean, there ain't no fucking acting required. Give me your fucking gun. I know where it is. Give me the other one. I know where the other one is. Now.
And know he's probably got one tied on. He's a little tequila'd up. He's kind of whatever.
Yeah,
and he's kind of like, he answers with the gun. He puts one gun under the bag. He's got the shotgun in his hand. He's holding a whole shotgun with one hand. You know what I mean? He's ready. And what can I say? We learned that he sponsored Clay. Clay is a full-blown bad guy now. That's all I'm going to say about this. Like, I know Ronnie had a problem with this. This is not the way he saw Clay Morrow. He saw him different.
These were those readings that we did once a week. We would have those script read-throughs. We never missed one. And these were the days when Pearl, we've all had our discussions with whatever your character's going to do or you read they're going to do. And this was a tough fucking time.
Yeah.
For Ronnie to get through this saga of a Hamlet tale that needs to get dark for sure and is going that way. But it's not the way he kind of saw it, Ronnie. And
no, and I mean he's a full bad guy. This is not redeemable anymore. You're not coming back from this. And they're starting to plant little things. He's lying to Gemma. He's doing all these deals. He's with the cartel. He just killed Piney. He's just a bad guy now. And again, I now understand watching this. I would have a hard time with this too, because it's like you've basically excommunicated him from the fan base of Sons, where they're not going to like him anymore. He's the bad guy. That's hard. That's hard unless you really embrace it.
I'm remembering shit now, Theo, about, I mean, you and I got a lot to talk about season 6 and 7, but I remember now, Pearl was our boy. We hung out all the time. And I remember him not wanting to really, such a beautiful day here in upstate New York. My God. We never hung out as much. And I knew he was having a hard time with Clay.
Yeah.
With Clay. So I would, and I knew that Tig and him were kind of on the way out. So I was letting him do his internal work, however but I fucking missed him. I missed not going to those bars Friday night with him. He stopped coming
and listen, it happened to me too. It happened to me at the end, you know, I didn't hang out, you know, because you felt when you started to get to become, it was weird. Like art started imitating life, where you felt like because the audience was starting to hate you, whether it be because they thought you were snitching or they thought this, you start distancing yourself.
Yeah, man.
And, you know, so what do you say? You just lost one of the greatest characters ever on the show. It's pretty early on. It's season 4, episode 8.
I forgot that it was episode 8, bro.
Yeah. I didn't know this was coming. I started to get a feeling when he said the cabin. And then when I was watching it, I was like, oh shit.
This is it.
This is it. No more Piney. So I really don't know how.
Still blue, the song, right? Still drunk, still crazy, still
blue. I don't know what people react to this. I don't remember how Jax finds out or Opie finds out. And I'm so excited. I don't know. Not a clue. I don't remember any of this.
That's why we're going to keep talking.
Yeah, we will. So,
all right, man, we did it.
That's it. Yeah, we did it.
Hey, I fucking love you, bro.
Love you too, bro.
I'm
Patreon.
Patreon is just going crazy.
Patreon. We're, you know, we got our other show, Theory. Hey, listen, if you're watching this right now and you're looking at these two people who you have no idea who the hell they are, why don't you hit the like button underneath? Why don't you subscribe to the channel so you can get updates on when these fantastic videos are going to hit your eardrums? And then why don't you come over and peep out the Patreon page for our other show, Theory, with Theo Rossi and Kim Coates, or with Kim Coates and Theo Rossi, however the hell you want to say it. And we got a lot going on. We're actually about to go do an episode of that show right now. And we drop content on that thing daily.
It's pretty. Justin, our producer, is doing an incredible job. And the people who have found it and who are on it
are loving it.
Going, can the whole like freaking world just join now? And Discord stuff and people talking to one another. And by the way, I have a question for you. Our merch, which is just, there's nothing better.
Yeah.
Are we doing another drop soon?
Yeah. So we just did the exclusive merch drop to the Reaper crew on the Patreon page. So they got
there's another reason why to join Patreon peeps.
So they're the only ones who can get the Who Cares. They got the Who Cares merch.
Okay, cool.
That's just for them. But we have a new for everyone, anyone who's not even on Patreon, that's coming out in the next week or two.
And that stuff goes in like 4 or 5 days. You can't get them after that.
Yeah, we've never lasted longer than 5 days with it, and that stuff's pretty wild. That's this stuff. I mean, you're not gonna be able to see it, but
yeah. And if you're listening, you can't see it, but if you've seen it on YouTube for a second, that's all Theo's gonna give you because he's got blonde hair now. He doesn't even know who he is anymore.
So
incredible. I want one of those. I mean,
yeah, me too. That's the one that I want. Those are amazing. So
I don't know what Caesar's doing, but he's out of this.
Out of the world with these things. So listen, that's what's going on. You know, let's keep it going. Love you.
Salut. Love you, Rossi. Bye.